everyone. Welcome to a very first live edition of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and please download. And also, if you're going to be listening to our audio platform in the future, please subscribe, please download and everything. I am so thrilled and excited for today. Today has finally come where I finally get to reveal my logo. And the person that has helped me out since this day started and has helped redesign the logo that you see on your far right-hand corner. He is the founder of Finnegan Studios. Please welcome my friend, Alan Sharpe, to the podcast.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Thank you for the warm welcome.
You're so welcome. Alan, I cannot believe the day is finally here. We've been talking about this for months and now it's here. And so thank you so much. We got to have a big shout out to our friends over the Freelance Exchange of Kansas City, because that's where we met and that's how we started this journey together.
True. Very true. If it wasn't for that, then none of this would happen.
All right. So before we get to all the exciting stuff, I want us to get to know a little bit about you, Alan. So when did that passion of creativity first bit you, and how did that evolve into the desire to pursue a career in your field?
I mean, I guess it's kind of cliche to say, but it is very true. Creativity was always with me since I was younger. Like, I can look at my stepdad's house and there are still little drawings that I did when I was little that are all over the place still, and they've still been there. And I'm 28 now, and they've been there for 28 years. They've not left the areas. So it really started when I was younger, and then as I got older, and I was hoping to see like what kind of careers I'd be interested in. I knew I liked creativity. I didn't know if I wanted to do like theater or dance or artwork, but then I kind of made the decision as I was going into college, what skill set did I want to keep as a hobby, and I decided that for theater, and then I decided to keep my artwork as the main skill set that I wanted to make a career out of, to have some enjoyment in what I was doing every single day in some way, shape, or form.
That's incredible. And that's the thing is, and I'm so grateful for that. So I want to talk to you about how you just started Finnegan Studios.
How I started Finnegan Studios was 2018. It was the first time I was ever being requested to make some sort of advertisement of a trailer, and it was for, I believe, the show Nonsense. So I recorded everything for my friend at East Central College's theater. It was for their summer show, and so I was doing TV production as one of my classes. So I was learning how cameras worked, and I was learning how Premiere worked and After Effects. So they said, could you go ahead and actually take like a recording and then do an advertisement of it? And I said, sure, yeah, it's my first time doing it, but I'll give it a shot. And they paid me too. So it was just kind of like everything birthed at that time. And then before I knew it, word spread around from them to other friends of mine, that I would do some promotional content, whether that was via posters or designs or paintings. And then before I knew it, I was choreographing for shows. I was also creating artwork for doctors in their offices, and then other different kinds of things here and there, logos for other YouTubers and things like that. So it just kind of word of mouth spread, and then I just was creating things, and then eventually I just tailored the name and put everything together as time went on. But yeah, that's kind of how it started. It was summer of 2018.
And here we are 7 years later. Last year, Alan did one of the most important things, and he redesigned my very first logo, which is on the right-hand corner. However, since July, hi Amanda, Alan and I have been ready. I've been working really hard, and he's been working really hard to bring my vision of my 15th anniversary to life. So the 15th anniversary is next year. For those of you who are new to me, I started blogging back in August 2011. It was the summer after I graduated college from UC Boulder, go Buffs. And I can finding a needle. It was like the same economy last year. Finding a journalism job was like finding a diamond needle in golden haystack. So I started blogging, and one thing led to another, and then all of a sudden we're here. It led to a podcast in November 2019. Next year marks season 7, which we'll get to in a minute. But first, more importantly, Alan and I discussed the ways. What does 15 mean? So without further ado, I want to present to you the 15th anniversary logo. Ta-da! So, Alan, please describe this logo for me, for our audience.
When it comes to describing this logo, one thing I really fell in love with how you developed and created this podcast, and I think this is how I related to it with my artwork, was I love that it was so hand done. It depended on people and what they had done and the journeys that they had taken. And so that's what I really focused on with it. And then through like the different textures I put in there, I love textures, but I think that shows a tactileness and a handness of creators and a person. So I really focused on that. And then I remember we were looking at different logos between different podcasts, and we noticed how everything had like this hand drawn cartoon kind of like aesthetic to them. And we wanted to kind of bundle and wrap that into our own iteration of it. So yeah, and just the way that you capture the voice of like guests in there, yourself, opinions, thoughts, ideas, creativity. That's where I was really focusing on the old style radio, and that's what we came down to here. And then basically just using the different little areas of like where the 15 is, where the JE is, to represent your actual podcast, and then that we can actually continue reinventing it each time that we have a new milestone that we achieve.
Absolutely, Alan. And guys, the JE is for the Jake's Take. The curse of JE is also acknowledgement of Jake's Take, the thing that brought me to the party, my blog. I will always have something on my blog, no matter it's a new music review, and I always make sure to put the podcast on the blog so people can see that, because everyone has told me, know your roots and acknowledge them. And that's what I try to do. And I told Alan this, guys, please make sure there's a cursive red J and E, because that represents me and Jake's Take.
Mm-hmm.
And Alan, you did a phenomenal job. Guys, you'll be seeing more of this logo in the future, but I know you're here to know who's coming on for the podcast 15th anniversary celebration. So without further ado, let's begin. And guys, just to let you know, there is a new hashtag we're going to be using. It is hashtag JTWJE15. That means Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar 15 to celebrate 15 years of of my platform. So it's going to be fun. This year, season 7 marks with a milestone, the 400th episode. And I thought, what for better guests to bring them back than my old friends, John Brennan and Beth Stolaric. This is our reality TV trailblazers. They got their start on Real World Los Angeles and The Challenge, and Beth returned for The Challenge All-Stars, and their host with Getting Real with John and Beth. This year, they had a monumental year and welcomed back the iconic Coral Smith back to the Challenge community in a big way with 3 parts. We spoke about that. You also hear that we talked about the decline of MTV and where it's going from there. I think, Alan, these are 2 great choices.
I think they're phenomenal, and especially just like with the evolving landscape of media and like what people are exposed to, they'll have a great kind of like interpretation on what their thoughts are with that.
I also thanks, Alan. I also wanted to honor people from Kansas City, had Kansas City ties. So joining me is one of my favorite people, 3-time Tony Award winning and one-time Drama Desk Award winning producer, Evan McGill. He's the owner of Evan McGill Productions. He's the co-producer of The Outsiders and Sunset Boulevard. And he's also an investor with Starlight Express on the West End, and both Beetlejuice and Hamilton and MJ the Musical in Australia. He's going to give us just talk about Sunset Boulevard and The Outsiders, and we're going to learn more about the world of Broadway investing. But I got to say this, I always want to have somebody that's always going to be starting something, to quote Michael Jackson, and Paulie Calafiore is always starting something, no matter what he does. This will be his 4th visit to the platform. He did 1 blog and 2 podcasts with me. This is his 3rd podcast. I think of any challenger, I think Paulie has the most appearances of any reality TV star that I've done. He's also celebrating a big 10th anniversary next year, because he made his reality TV debut on Big Brother 18, which is celebrating his 10th anniversary. He's also been a two-time finalist, and he's also been a guest star on Vanderpump Villa and Netflix Pop the Balloon. And he's also the owner of Polycalifia Productions and Polycalifia Management. And also, Polly has been, if you haven't followed some social media drama in the challenge community, Polly's comments have been stirring up a storm amongst the OGs. And we'll find out in a few minutes what those comments are. Moving on, we have someone that I've been waiting to bring back on for years. This is Kim Yarbrough. She is one of the this is her first time visit to the podcast, but Alan, I visited Kim Kim visited me back in 2014. So this is our first interview in 12 years. So those of you who don't know Kim's story, she still got her start on as finalist on Team Adam on the sophomore season of Voice USA. That's a long time, Alan.
Mm-hmm.
But she has guest starred on How I Met Your Father, Jane the Virgin, Keenan, Shameless, and The Upshots. She's also lent her voice to voice acting roles, including Flo and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is amazing. And I'm so proud of her. Speaking of proud, we both know this next person, Julie Cortez. She is a Kansas City influencer, and not to mention one of the best, Midwest best freelancer coach. This is her first time to the podcast. She's the freelance rock star, founder of Freelance Exchange, and two-time Stevie Award recipient, and two-time small business superstar. And Alan knows firsthand about Julie.
Oh yes, Julie. As I'm like sporting the shirt for KCAI, she was my instructor to teach me everything that I know when it comes to freelance and networking, and yeah, so a lot of what I do now, it wouldn't be possible without her in that picture.
I know Julie is incredible, and I'm so glad that I've been trying to get her on the podcast, and I thought this anniversary year will be the year, and she's already been spreading the word on social media. So thank you so much, Julie. And you guys are in for a treat when it comes to the conversation. So our last guest I want to bring before we show a little teaser of of things to come is Tristan. Now, Tristan is a singer-songwriter. He has over 10,000 TikTok followers and over 25,000 Instagram followers. He's a creator of We Are Dancing and Movement, and I'm so proud of him for being so outspoken against the rise of anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. Tristan's conversation is going to be something. And guys, want to see a little twist of things to come. So let's go head over to my YouTube channel and see and check this out.
Exciting, very exciting.
Well, here's the thing. Like for vets and new threats, I like to go back to like War of the Worlds 1 when it was a similar situation where half of the cast showing up was new. And who was representing the veterans at that time? You had a much younger Johnny Bananas, you had a much younger CT, a much younger Leroy. You had Zach, you had myself. These were some heavy hitters on the men's side in order to make sure that they could compete, right? So when you had people like Theo come in, Turbo come in, Ashley Kane came in, and they were targeting the veterans. Yeah, they may have been able to send. Sorry, West was also part of that lineup on War of the Worlds 1. They may have been able to send home Bananas and CT, but they couldn't get through all of the vets without us, taking it to them. So I just felt like the veteran representation was a little bit lackluster on this one because it's almost like you're bringing in these new threats and you're stacking the cast with like really old people, and the future of the show depends on people buying into the future of the show. And I'm sorry, but these guys who are older, with the exception of Bananas, who's still coming in shape and focusing on his appearance and like making a good show, and he's still able to compete. Um, like who's going to want to tune in to see like these old people compete? Like they really don't. And the future of the show is not going to survive off of the older generation of people who have watched the show for years. It's going to survive off of new people wanting to watch it. I mean, like Love Island is watched by everybody, but it's really watched by a lot of young people. Same with Big Brother, same with Survivor. Like you have a small demographic of like the older people, but I kind of feel like we need to start getting rid of these older vets who aren't coming in shape. They're not coming in to entertain, and they're just overpaid, and they're eating up too much of the budget. You know what I mean? And
I
I
know what
think
you
we
mean.
need the future. And like if you're a football team trying to invest in a quarterback, you're looking to draft a really young, good quarterback that maybe has 5, 10, 15 years with the franchise. You're not gonna like, even though there's some great quarterbacks who make it later on in life, like you're not gonna, sign Tom Brady for like a 10-year extension when he's 40. He's not going to play until he's 50, right? You'll sign him on a year-to-year basis, but he's going to retire at some point. And I think a lot of the vets need to pass the
You know, I tell people very often that MTV was what TikTok is today. I mean, the relevance and just the viralness of it. You know, people are scrolling on their phones now, but they used to scroll on their cable box, and they would always land on MTV, and they would stay there, and that was dictating what was hip in in culture, with music, with fashion, and with everything. So I think it's an end of an era, but it's the beginning of a new era, and we should just embrace it and say, hey, MTV was great, but it's like our parents. They thought Elvis was great, and that was there was an end of that era. Elvis would not be super cool today, and
Oh yeah.
MTV the way we knew it is not super cool today. So it's just evolving.
And I could see that CBS could go and move to CBS as well, because that would be more way, and that would be able to get, like, I know they had CBS
Maybe.
account,
Oh my gosh. I have realized that I am enough.
which is
Simple.
great.
I don't need to I don't need to add anything extra because I feel like I'm missing something. I'm not missing anything. I am 100% enough. I've paid enough dues. I've sung all over the world. I have 70 IMDb credits, and it's not over. It's not done, but I know that I have enough to be certified, bona fide, qualified. How about that?
I will take that. And seriously, 70 IMDb credits. Not a lot of performers have that opportunity to have at least one, but you have 70,
70. And I amassed that in about 14 years, actually.
which is a lot.
Yeah, I'm
Way
proud
that
of
they
myself.
did when all the way that they did everything was just particular, and also with revival, because the thing is, with 3 Tony Awards, including for Best Revival and Best for Actress for Nicole Scherzinger, and also Draw and Drama Desk Award. So, in your humble opinion, how did this revival of Sunset Boulevard, make an impact on Broadway?
Um, I think, because I think Sunset was an event. I think that's the difference. So people came to Sunset Boulevard to see an event that people got excited for. There's always social media buzz always helps. If for your listeners and viewers who have heard about our show and how we did our top of Act Two, every night Tom Francis, the actor who played Joe Gillis, would actually do a walk through the streets of New York City as part of the opening number for Act Two. So it was an amazing thing. It built buzz. It took 65 people every night to pull off this 6 minute walk through New York City. So the St. James Theater is on West 44th Street, and Tom would walk down the street to what is called Schubert Alley. He would basically turn around and then walk back, and the whole thing was recorded live every night. And again, it became very buzzworthy. So it became an event that people got excited for. And people like seeing things that are different and things that are buzzy. And sometimes people just go to things because everyone else wants to see it. And in some ways that's what happened with Sunset, but it was still a fantastic production. But word of mouth and social media these days for theater are the two biggest things that drive ticket sales. And I'd even argue social media is bigger than that. So we had people every night taking videos of Tom doing his sunset walk, and just got people excited to see the production. It was definitely more of an event, in my opinion, than a musical.
I gotta say this: it was an event, and I don't think a lot of events with this decade, especially after the pandemic and everything, there's not a lot of events that go there. Like, I remember with Michael Jackson's the musical, when I saw with Miles Frost, that was an event. Sunset Boulevard's an event. There are only two events that on October 7th, 2023, we witnessed the deadliest attack against the Jewish people since the Holocaust. This has led to a shocking rise in anti Jewish hatred in person and online. what have been some of the strategies that you have used to have conversations stop anti-Semitism, anti-Zionism on these tracksters?
That's a very good question. I generally try to just explain the history of anti-Semitism itself because it's kind of the same playbook. The people that don't like us, it's kind of the same playbook. I mean, it manifests in different ways. Obviously, now we have social media and all these different sort of avenues of connectivity and information being spread. But I try to explain the history and try to explain that this is what has happened every single time. The only difference now being we have Israel. In the past we just didn't have a nation for a few thousand years. But yeah, I really just try to explain the history, explain the context, explain and just humanize us as people. I'm like, look, you're talking to me, a Jewish person. Do you think these things about me? Like, you know me. Like if it's someone that I've known before. And those are real conversations I've had. And I've also really tried to explain, like, you understand that we are 15 million people out of 8 billion people in the world. Naturally, logically, that means we are less likely to be heard than whoever amount of people are speaking up, against us. So those are some, I guess, go-to sort of points I try to bring up.
Seeing a lot of today, and so it's not a right or a left thing. And again, bravo to you for calling people out, especially the celebrities. I think that's great. And again, I don't care what you think about a celebrity's political standpoint or their acting skills or lack thereof, or any performer. I don't care about that. What I care about is that these people are standing up for Jewish hate, and the question should be, why aren't they?
Oh, muted.
So what do you think about that?
I thought it was phenomenal. I love it. It's a very exciting season, especially just like seeing everyone's different opinions, philosophies, and where they're coming from. I love ideas, so it's very cool to see ideas in motion.
Yeah, it's very cool to see all of them. And then all of them were taught from, no matter, it's like the fate of MTV, the fate of the challenge, to talking about fighting against anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism online, to bring talking about events on Broadway, making an impact on Broadway. And especially for Kim, when she said that she's truly happy herself and finally found success with 70 IMDb credits, and she's satisfied with herself. These are going to be incredible conversations. But however, guys, we are not done yet. I still have 3 more guests to announce, maybe 4. So let's see who is coming next. We got to talk about this guy, Woody Woodbeck. He and I have been following. Because of John and Beth, I followed Woody. We've been exchanging, so we're finally having conversation. For those of you who don't know Woody is a Telly, Emmy, and GLAAD award-winning producer. He's a News Nation producer. He's the former Life and Style West Coast editor at large. He has produced on previous shows, including Challenge USA Season 2, Queer Eye, The Real World on MTV, and Southern Hospitality. I think Woody's going to bring a lot to this anniversary. What do you think, AJ?
Oh, I think he'll bring a lot to it, especially just kind of like from his experiences and then all the artwork he's like touched that are from like different parts of media, which I think is a very cool interpretation.
All righty. Moving on after Woody, we have an old friend of mine, Ed Eason. You saw Ed on The Circle on Netflix's season 1, very first season of the very popular competitive show Circle. But he made his way over to MTV with the Challenge universe with Spies, Lies, and Allies, and Challenge 39, Battle for a New Champion. His challenge record as of today, he has had 4 daily wins and one elimination. As of recording, he has over 102,000 Instagram followers, and he's also just more than recently is co-founded Ed E3 Supplements co-founder, and he's also gone from reality television into a bodybuilding journey. So I'm very interested to see how this bodybuilding journey took him, and I think it's going to be a great one. But last but certainly not least, I have a legend coming up, a GOAT within the challenge world in reality television. I've been trying to get this person on for years, and also not just one, but both of them as well, because the other one is a very powerful influencer in the Kansas City community. So I'm pleased and excited to announce the the one and only Wes and Amanda Bergman as the latest guest. First joint interview in a while that they're doing together. And Wes is a Beta Blocks founder, and he's a reality TV icon. So a 3-time challenge champion. He's been on House of Villains. He's been on The Traitors. He's been on Worst Cooks of America. And not to mention his show Beta Blocks is on Prime Video. So I'm so excited. It's taken me years to get him. And Amanda joining has been a big voice in the Kansas City community, with no matter if it's through yoga or for sharing her takes on what makes Kansas City an incredible place. So I'm truly blessed to have both of them join me for a joint conversation.
Yeah, this is a really awesome lineup. This is really exciting. So
this is just the first few. This is just through February. So I am still done yet. And guys, I want to say thank you so much for all of your support. It means the world to me that you've stayed with me through my journey. And it means that the 15-year celebration is going to be a celebration that honors my roots, that honors everything. And look at this, and honors, and season 7. Look at all of this. I gotta say, the last 2, Alan, you have played a huge role in this. So I want to say thank you. And before we go, guys, Alan, you have the final word. Where can they look for you to see if they want to hire you, and also where can they find some of your work?
there's a couple different places. So you can find it at finneganstudios.com. So that's where a lot of my work is. It's where my portfolio is, contact page, all about me section. But if you're not privy to like websites, you can also look at Instagram or Facebook at Finnegan Studios, and that's just the tagline. So at Finnegan Studios, type that in, and it should pop up for Instagram or for Facebook. And then same with Tumblr too. So any one of those 3.
Awesome. And guys, if you missed an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, visit our channels on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Spreaker. Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOB ELYACHAR. Now, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, and YouTube. Jacob Elyachar, JACOB ELYACHAR. For the blog that started all, that's celebrating 15 years this year, visit jakes-shake.com. Once again, jakes-shake.com. And I am so pleased to share that I am a 2025 American Business Award winner. For the podcast, I want to thank the Stevie Awards and their judges for awarding my podcast the Silver Stevie in Best Interview and Talk Show. And that's not just all, because more recently, if you've been following me on social media, it's official. I'm a 2026 Small Business Superstar. So I want to say thank you so much, Becky Wilson, and thank you so much for the Greater Kansas City Chamber of Commerce for awarding me this title. This means the world to me. And Becky, thank you so much for suggesting this platform. Wow. Alan, thank you so much for being a huge part of my career. You are amazing. And I cannot wait to see what we do next.
Excited too. I'm excited for what the future holds for us.
I know. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support over the years. And until next time, have a great day, everybody. And happy Thanksgiving. Goodbye.